some topics and ethical ideas align on one side and some align on the other. And it's not always clean and neat. And I think we need to have some nuanced conversation around those things to begin to see where it's honest. At times, those things, the way we've been formed by our environment, by our grid, are not always the same as a Christian worldview. That we have a worldview that's often shaped by the environment, the nation, the region, the place that we grew up. And that may not be an exact representation of a Christian worldview. And we have to be honest enough to recognize that maybe, just maybe, it's not as righteous as we think or we would assume. In fact, I think one of the reasons why the disciples had such a hard time wrapping their minds around Jesus's nonviolent faithfulness of loving others and humility before God way of living was that what was fresh in their worldview was the Maccabean rebellion, which occurred about 200 years before Jesus arrived on the scene. So the most recent thing in their Jewish history was this Maccabean rebellion and revolt against the Greek oligarchy, if you will, those that were in rulership at the time. And in their minds, the disciples had such a hard time understanding that Jesus was coming as a Messiah who was humble, not as a Messiah who was demanding. He was coming to serve, not be a military conqueror. And his kingdom was different than the kingdoms of the world. And they had a hard time wrapping their mind around it. Why? Because they were having a hard time with the nuanced perspective. The grid through which they grew up was the Maccabean rebellion and revolt. It wasn't correct understanding of the ways of the kingdom of God. And Jesus comes to reorient who we are.